Advice of counsel, I hereby assert my Fifth Amendment right against being compelled to be a witness against myself.
Did the Trump legal team ask you to prepare a memorandum regarding the vice president's role in the counting of electoral votes at the joint session of Congress on January 6, 2021?
Yes.
Dr. Eastman, did you advise the President of the United States that the vice president could reject electors from 7 states and declare that the president had been reelected?
Yes.
Dr. Eastman, the first sentence of the memo starts off by saying 7 states have transmitted dual slates of electors to the President of the Senate. Is that statement in this memo true?
Yes.
Did President Trump authorize you to discuss publicly your January 4th, 2021 conversation with him?
Fifth.
That was Donald Trump's lawyer and Georgia RICO criminal co-defendant John Eastman invoking his Fifth Amendment before the January 6th committee. And now John Eastman has just learned that a California state bar judge by the name of Yvette Rowland, Judge Rowland, has made a preliminary finding of culpability in the 11-count state bar action against Trump attorney John Eastman to discipline Eastman for his conduct of and relating to the January 6th insurrection, his preparation of the coup memo, his conduct on the date of the January 6th insurrection and thereafter. And the discipline could include penalties, including but not limited to the revocation of his bar license. And I fully expect that John Eastman will indeed lose his bar license. There's been about 32 days of testimony so far, and after testimony concluded, the judge made that finding of culpability. That is the first step. We then move into the next step for rebuttal testimony as well as aggravation testimony to determine what the penalty will be. And I am confident, folks, that the penalty will ultimately be the revocation of John Eastman's bar license. So as we've said, MAGA stands for Make Attorneys Get Attorneys. In the case of the Georgia criminal RICO case, it's also Make Attorneys Plead Guilty, because Ken Chesborough, Sidney Powell, Jenna Ellis have all pled guilty in the Georgia criminal case. Now we've got John Eastman, who did not admit yet to anything. He's not pled guilty. But after 32 days of testimony, after he tried to invoke the Fifth in the January 6th committee, after he tried to pull the Donald Trump delay tactic in the state bar proceedings, he's lost. A culpability decision's been reached, and now we move on to the punishment phase, and I believe his license will be revoked. You know, Eastman may have been better off invoking his Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination, because when Eastman went on the Laura Ingraham show, even Ingraham was, and that's how you pronounce it, it's Ingraham because I had her brother on, it's not Ingram. Laura Ingraham had him on the show, and so she asked him, like, well, what were you trying to accomplish on January 6th? And even Laura Ingraham looks at him like, you are an idiot. You are admitting to a crime right now. Stop it, stop it, stop it. Watch what happened a few months back when, this was actually in August of 2023 when John Eastman went on the Ingraham show. Play this clip.
John, and just again, so we clarify this, on January 6th, what did you want to happen? And how was that historically grounded? And the history of our country, how would that have taken place? So just so the viewers can understand what would have unfolded and how that would have ultimately been constitutional.
So there were, several things. Some people had urged that Vice President Pence simply had power to reject electors whose certification was still pending in legal contests.
I don't believe that, but go ahead. I don't believe that.
I don't
That's
either.
one thing I don't agree with.
And I explicitly told Vice President Pence in the Oval Office on January 4th that even though it was an open issue under the circumstances we had, I thought it was the weaker argument, and it would be foolish to exercise such power even if he had it. What I recommended, and I've said this repeatedly, is that he accede to requests from more than 100 state legislators in the swing states to give them a week to try and sort out the impact of what everybody acknowledged was illegality in the conduct of the election.
I don't think everyone acknowledged it. Yeah, not everyone acknowledged it, but that was the argument that was being made, obviously. And there were obviously irregularities that everybody had seen, but whether that was, whether it rose to the level of changing the outcome of the election, again, without a legal proceeding in the states that mattered, the argument ultimately was a difficult one to make. I mean, hence here we are.
And by the way, Eastman's lawyer, no better. Watch what happened when Eastman's lawyer went on the Ari Melber show. Play this clip.
Put aside some time for this. I want to start with a couple quick things and then get into the case. But first and foremost, Donald Trump lost the 2020 election. You accept that fact?
Well, look, there's a large portion of the country that has issues with the 2020 election. There are still discussion about things that went on.
Large portion of the country believes in ghosts or horoscopes. I'm asking you, do you accept the results of the election that Donald Trump lost?
Well, I'm just here as an attorney representing a client, but I think the important thing is...
I'll keep moving. I want to give you the opportunity to answer it. It's a very easy question to answer. If you can't answer it, I've got other questions.
Well, my personal opinions are neither here nor there. They're no better than anybody else's. But I would like the opportunity to address the latest news and anything you think your viewers would like to be interested in.
We will definitely get to that.
And here is John Eastman whining on one of these far right-wing networks before the state bar trial commenced about they're making me sit through a state bar proceeding and it's a witch hunt. Wow. Here, watch Eastman here.
Deter them. They went ahead and filed a notice of disciplinary charges in January, and now the trial begins on Tuesday, and it's a full-fledged trial. I mean, they're pulling out all the stops. It's really extraordinary the amount of taxpayer resources that are going in to trying to disprove claims that I made. Or more importantly, that I had no basis whatsoever for making claims that election officials violated the law, acted unconstitutionally in the conduct of the election. And so that's what the trial will be. And the bar is calling me as its first witness on Tuesday. And the judge has ordered that it's going to be live streamed. So it'll be quite a media circus, I suspect.
And renowned election lawyer Mark Elias, who's been on our show before, makes a great point here on the Alex Wagner show. He goes, the only difference between Mike Johnson and John Eastman is the following. MAGA Mike Johnson, who doesn't have a checking or savings account, who's the MAGA splainer who wants to tell us how we should handle our finances, even though he added $8 trillion to the debt. Here, play this clip.
What do you make of the fact that we are barreling towards another presidential election? The Speaker of the House is now Mike Johnson. In terms of election integrity efforts and the movement behind that, do you feel like it is stronger and that the sort of insurance policy is a better one this time around?
Look, I think you can see this both ways. On the one hand, there were reforms made to the Electoral Count Act. That is a positive. That's the law that governs how the counting of electoral college votes are supposed to happen in the House in a joint session. But on the other hand, we know that the group of Republicans, including Mike Johnson, are lawless. So they probably won't care much what the law says. And we have seen democracy under attack now for years by the likes of people like Donald Trump and Mike Johnson. And that system of democracy that relies so much on good faith has withered. And so what Republicans have done is they have essentially given John Eastman a gavel, right? The difference between Mike Johnson and John Eastman are different fringe legal theories, and one got indicted and one got promoted.
So there you have it, folks. Devastating news for John Eastman. Good news for justice. And you see all the roadblocks, all these make attorneys, get attorneys, all these MAGAs, Trump, all these people try to put up. It's frustrating sometimes, right? How slow this can take and why isn't this moving faster? But folks, we're seeing justice move in the right direction, and we're seeing the sweep, the long arm of justice kind of sweep over these MAGA right-wing fascists who have not followed the law, who have broke the law, have tried to overthrow our democracy. And folks, I'm so honored to report it here with you. Thank you so much for watching these videos. Hit subscribe. We're on our way to 2 million subscribers thanks to your support. Check us out as well at patreon.com/MeidasTouch, patreon.com/MeidasTouch. Have a great one.
Hey Meidas Mighty, love this report? Continue the conversation by following us on Instagram at MeidasTouch to keep up with the most important news of the day. What are you waiting for? Follow us now.